Hello and welcome to our program, Violence Free World. My name is Kali Ikpe, and today we have a special guest on the program, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, Engineer Sule. Excellency, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to come right back into the conversation, but first, after this special report, be here. Audacity at an unprecedented proportion perhaps best describes the spate of violence in Nigeria today. The scale at which murder, arson, kidnapping and brigandage occurs in the present-day Nigeria makes the days of the Niger Delta militancy seem like child's play. The question on the lips of many is, how did we get here? In the first 6 weeks of 2021, no fewer than 1,525 persons were killed across the country, according to Vanguard's newspaper investigation and data obtained from the Nigeria Security Tracker (NST). Incidents of kidnapping have occurred in very quick succession in the northwest of Nigeria, particularly in Katsina and Kaduna states. The most recent being the abduction and subsequent execution of hostages who are students of Greenfield University in Kaduna State. Before now, it was the turn of the students of the College of Forestry, most of whom are still in captivity. Niger State in north-central Nigeria has also, unfortunately, become the latest state to concede a part of its territory to the insurgent Boko Haram. This development is coming on the heels of gross acts of kidnapping that have embarrassingly drawn international attention. While this act may be considered as being predominantly in the north, the response from the southeast of Nigeria has ignited a flame that can be likened to how the Boko Haram menace started. Imo, Anambra, and Ebonyi states have particularly been in the news for dastardly acts carried out by persons suspected to be of southeast extraction. Interestingly, impunity seemed to reign quite high, as perpetrators in too many of these incidents have carried on without a significant measure of repercussion. This incapacity or lack of political will on the part of the Nigerian authorities to bring perpetrators of violence to book remains the major reason for the audacity we are experiencing today. Finally, the citizens remain fixated on the leadership to do the needful before it becomes all too real that Nigeria has become a failed state. It is bad enough that the country now ranks very high on the Global Terrorism Index. All hands must therefore remain on deck as we crave a violence-free Nigeria. Welcome back. Excellency, now let's talk quickly about what happened that shook our nation, that could redefine us if we take advantage of it. There was a youth revolt, aka NSAS, that touched on several issues and revealed the inadequacies in our systems. The numerical strength, poor numerical strength of our security personnel, poor trainings, and all sorts, inclusiveness, lack of inclusiveness, all of that. It has come and passed. It seemed like that was going to be a golden opportunity for us all to wake up and suddenly do that which we must do. That has come, and it seemed like it has passed. Did we actually attend to this? Did we seize that opportunity as leaders? Or it seemed like just one of those activities has come and is gone, and we're back to our old ways?
In 1992, there was a June 12 crisis, exactly like that. It happened exactly similar to that. I was the managing director of African Petroleum. Because of oil subsidy, we had this kind of problems exactly like that. Not to the extent of the destruction that have taken place in Lagos and few other places, because people are more hungry right now, and it happened at the time that people were extremely hungry. Now, these answers, you have to define where it was successful and where it was not. Because even so, it wasn't really a national problem. It was a problem that had happened in some parts of the country. And I'm not in this case saying that it didn't happen. For instance, it happened in Plateau, it didn't happen in Nasarawa. You understand that? It happened a little bit in Benue, for instance, it didn't happen in Kogi. So you come across those kind of things. So it's not about, I'm not saying regional, I'm not saying it happened in the south and didn't happen in the north. I'm just saying that you have spots where it happened. Now, even in Plateau, it happened only in Jos. Plateau is more than Jos. So when you say youth revolt to redefine us, it's like a movement that everybody was involved. Then that will have to redefine us.
Is it possible to have everybody involved in any movement?
Well, that's when you will call it national, because you see the way you define it. I'm just trying to explain to you the way you define it.
Okay.
Nigerians, anytime you touch their pockets, it's a national issue. My brother, in the year 2005, 2006, when we had the Oshimole revolt on subsidy removal, it was almost a national issue. A woman in the market that knew that the price of her transport was going to increase joined. So I'm saying we have come across some of these things over and over and over. NSAS was a very unfortunate situation. It was sad. It's something that the government should take advantage of to take a look at it and redefine it and find a final solution to it, which I think the government started by proscribing the NSAS, the SARS team, and those kind of things. But the way it's being defined, that it should have defined Nigeria, definitely not. Because there were some other people that didn't even know it happened. And this is the truth. So if you are there where it happened, I was in Lagos, okay? And my house actually was right there on Admiralty, and it happened at the toll gate on Ozumbambadwe. So you see, somebody like me can tell you, yes, I know it happened. But if somebody living in Lafia or Akwanga or this, he didn't even know there was anything happening until what he's just seen on the social media and the TV. So those are the kind of issues that I'm saying. So it wouldn't have redefined Nigeria to the level that you are thinking about. But I think that it was a learning course for the government. The government had taken note of that. The government is taking advantage of that in order to look at it critically and see how to avoid situations like that.
But do you think they're just looking at it yet? Have they started addressing some of these issues actually?
Well, in every state we set up the NSAS committee. And in fact, if we have had the NEC meeting today, the governors will have made presentations. I saw in Lagos, it's still going on. Okay, and recommendations are being made by the committees to see a way forward. So I think government is taking steps, to see how that will happen.
It's work in progress. Now, our country, insecurity seems to have dominated discourse everywhere. As you hear, farmer-headed crisis, as in herdsmen menace, you hear terrorism, insurgency, kidnapping, armed robbery, all sorts seem to be defining our lives, our national lives. Now, does this worry you that this is now becoming our new normal?
Thank you very much for your question. Actually, every country has its own challenges at a certain time. Nigeria also has had all kinds of challenges at different times or the other. Let me tell you, being from the private sector and being from the oil and gas sector, in this country we used to have problems about pipeline vandalization, about Ogoni problems, about this and that. It went on and on and on, and then finally it died down. Then we had the problem again coming up about kidnapping and everything of the expatriates, especially in the Niger Delta and the rest of that. Again, locally for us, it came to an end. We had the problem of Boko Haram going back and forth everywhere. Locally for us, it came to an end. We came for a meeting yesterday, and if you look at what is happening today in Zamfara, in Kaduna, in Niger, in Katsina, you will know that sooner or later, this also will come to an end. So, yes, as a leader, anytime there is disturbances, it will bother me. Anytime there are problems, it will bother me. But as a leader, you have to keep thinking of a way out. Just like we thought many times of ways out in the past, and then we were able to get out of them. So that's the reason why I'm telling you, it doesn't bother me to the point of, beating me down to where I feel we are defeated. Because we are not. We are still working on it, and God's willing, we are going to come out of it.
So before I go to the next question, did I hear you say that Boko Haram is in the past? Are you referring to Nasarawa State, or are you referring to the entire nation?
No. I said in this country, Boko Haram was the major problem.
Is it not still a major problem?
Boko Haram is no longer the major problem.
Nigeria is at war.
Well,
that's why I mentioned whether this is becoming our new normal.
Yeah.
You can imagine.
Well, if you mention Nigeria is at war, where? The media sometimes is at war with itself. Because the media, based on the way they report some of these cases, majority of the people who report this, Nigeria is at war, Nigeria has come to an end, Nigeria will finish in 2015, Nigeria is that. These are all media reports. And because we have freedom of speech, people go ahead and do that. I've been to Borno. I went to Borno. I sat down with the governor. In fact, the governor just came back from a trip in Turkey. He just went to Turkey and came back. If his state was at war, he wouldn't go to Turkey. So you see the way some of these reports are mentioned, and then that today, the positive ones that are coming up, I mentioned to you, I didn't say that Boko Haram is in the past. There is still some remnants of Boko Haram, but there are also drums of these militants that every day are surrendering, and they want to be rehabilitated and accommodated into the society every day. We didn't see that in the past, So for that reason, you can say that. If we're at war, then, we're at war, but the enemy is surrendering every day. Maybe that's the kind of war that we're talking about. So Boko Haram is not in the past. There is still a little bit of remnants here and there, but we are overcoming it. The same thing I have mentioned to you about these kidnappers and the militants that we are facing, the terrorists that we are doing. They are being killed in drums, in these four states that I have mentioned: Kaduna, Katsina, Zamfara, and then Zamfara and Niger, and then in Nasarawa State, where sometimes they run to, we are blocking them. We are taking action. So just last night, that's what we discussed up until early this morning, and trying to find solutions to all these things. So that's what you keep saying.
Okay, I get it now. Now, let's go. Nasarawa State definitely has had its own fair share of violence in the past, even though the situation is relatively a lot more calm than it was in the past right now. But despite all of this, the phenomenon of herders menace, killer headsmen. Can you say Nasarawa State is free of this completely right now, or is not an issue for Nasarawa State?
You see, this kind of violence, you never say you are completely free. But what I can tell you is that in the last maybe 18 months or so, we have not had herders-farmers clashes in Nasarawa State. However, from time to time, you come across some of these people. Our harvest this year was excellent in Nasarawa State. We have fantastic, the tip people are very happy about what they have seen. The farmers, in the other areas that are farming are very happy with their harvest, this and that. But still, I can't tell you that I will go to sleep and say everything is out.
Well, closely related to that, there's a very strong feeling among some people inside of Benue State that Nasarawa State serves as a launchpad for killer headsmen, the ones that were running away from the anti-open grazing law. They moved in droves into Nasarawa State and launched from here as a reprisal, so consequence. Now, this is some kind of mistrust that is building and brewing between Nasarawa State and Benue State. How have you and your counterparts, Governor Otom, gone about resolving this? Is it all well between Nasarawa State and Benue right now?
Well, that's what I inherited when I came in 2 years ago. When I came in 2 years ago, I came on the background of exactly what you said, and it bothered me, it worried me, because Nasarawa, Benue, and Plateau used to be the same state. And we have a lot of people who are indigenous people of Benue that actually also indigenous people of Nasarawa state, and vice versa. So it bothered me. And so the very first state I visited as a governor was Benue, mainly because of this issue. You know, I contacted the governor and I visited him. And I said, Mr. Governor, I'm interested in trying to remove this mistrust between us because we are brothers. We cannot live perpetually in distrust. And he welcomed the idea, you know, and we discussed at length. I took all the security people and everybody, and we sat down. And he also brought all his own government people. We sat down and we discussed in detail. Then he returned the favor. He also visited me, you know, and then we discussed in detail. So we drew the plan. Then we had the third meeting, actually, you know, at the border town of Nasarawa and Plateau, a place called Yelwata. We sat down there again, we discussed. Since then, the level of trust between us is there. Sometimes when I see certain security challenges from Nasarawa running into Benue, I call him and say, Your Excellency, we notice so and so going on. And sometimes he calls me too, and he say, we also notice so and so coming into Nasarawa, watch it. So if there was such feeling, you know, definitely it's not there now. Definitely not between the governors, you know. So, but if there are some other individuals, like I tell you, that are having that kind of feeling, I don't know why they should have that.
There will always be. We're going to come back and talk more on these measures, especially as we look to stabilize the polity in Nigeria. But that will return from this break. This is Violence Free World. We'll be right back after this time out. Don't go away. Welcome back. This is Violence Free World. We're still here with our special guest in the house, Governor Abdulahi Sule of Nasarawa State. Excellency, people, a lot of states now believe that let's just go ahead and put in place anti-open grazing law. And it seems to be sweeping across the nation. Unfortunately for us, we have the Nigeria Governors Forum, where they do peer review mechanism, to which I expect that based on the kind of response you're getting, which is positive, the signs, the vibes you're getting, which are positive, what effort have you made now to ensure that this is shared amongst them to encourage your colleagues so that maybe we'll just have the solution?
Let me tell you, the problem we have in this country is continuous. There are some governors that know exactly what's the right thing to do. But you see, there are people who have already made up their mind to think in different direction. Every Fulani is a killer, is a harder, is this. Get rid of him. Don't allow them to do grazing in this area. So, in order to go with the crowd, unfortunately.
To go with the crowd?
Yeah, to go with the crowd.
Okay.
The crowd of his own state.
Okay.
Okay? So, like in Benue now, you have anti-open grazing. In Nasarawa, we don't. So as far as Nasarawa is concerned, we're happy with not having any law for anti-open grazing.
And no plans for such a law?
Until we are able to satisfy and make sure there is provision for them. Once there is provision for them, definitely we are going to come up with the law to say that, okay, now we have provision for you. You must go to this place. So now we are enacting a law that prohibits anybody to go openly and start going from one farm to the other. But without having any provision for them, you know, it's going to be helter-skelter, fighting with security every day.
Way out for us, so that we can achieve this national cohesion that we so much crave for and which we're funded on. It's dialogue, we understand. Dialogue about dialogue. But in the midst of the dialogue, some people come up with what we call the rhetoric of fury, talking tough and saying things that do not help us at the end of the day. Let me also put that side by side with the president from the eastern part of the country or western part of the country. What would it do for us in terms of saying how we get together as a people?
Well, okay, you are not asking the question directly, but let me answer it to the best of my own understanding of what you are saying. If you are asking of national dialogue, every country has democratic institutions. In the UK, you have the parliament. In the US, that I'm more familiar with, you have the Senate, you have the Congress. In Nigeria, you have the houses of assembly at the state level. You also have the House of Reps. On the other end, you have the senators. Down at the local government level, you also have the legislators, the councillors. If you say all these ones is not enough representation, you want another institution, to come in and do that. For me, I don't care, really. You want something, all these ones, push them aside, because these are representatives of their people. How are you going to select those people who are going to go into this new team that you have? Are they going to be voted? Are they going to be, how are you going to do that? Or is somebody going to say, I like your face, therefore you go? So those are the kind of things. You have people who have gone through the rigor of elections and everything before they went to those positions. You say you don't trust them enough to discuss national issues. Then who are you going to trust? So that's why I say, as far as I'm concerned, really, because of the way that I speak about these things, national conference, international conference, whatever conference they have, they want to have it. For me, I don't really mind. Now, go back to your next question that you mentioned, about Southern president. Is that going to be a solution? No. We had a Southern president. In fact, we have more Southerners ruling this country than
Igbo president.
Than Northerners. What is so special about an Igbo president that will solve Nigeria's problem? Jonathan, part of his name is Azikwe. Did he solve the problem? So you see, the issue is that Nigeria needs competent people who understand Nigeria's problem to come and solve this problem. If it is an Igbo, and you have so many Igbos that can do this. If it is an Igbo, fantastic. If it is a Yoruba, fantastic. If it is an Efik, Ibibio, whatever it is, fantastic. But the moment you begin to regionalize it and make it an ethnic thing, that until you have an Igbo president, you will not solve these problems. I don't think it is a solution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Finally, Excellency, as you talk to the youth as far as violence is concerned, as your words to them, they also want to hear what it is that you have done as far as youth inclusiveness is concerned in your government.
For us, the youth hold the future. Without the youth, we won't go anywhere. I come in from that background, and that is the reason why I have a lot of youth in my own government. Starting with the most important institution we have to open the state is called the Nasarawa Investment Agency. It is actually, he didn't even get married until he became my special advisor. We have a lot of youth as advisors, senior special assistants, holding key positions. Youth and women, we are holding them in that category. Today, I have a woman, who is actually the CJ of the state. The first time we're having in Nasarawa state. So that's why we say we are a government of inclusiveness. So we are engaging all this. But more important with the youth, we are educating them. We are getting them involved in agriculture. We are empowering them to understand that agriculture is business. It's a trade. You don't undermine any particular trade. We are telling them education is key. You must be educated first. Not just certification. We say come in. Even if you have a degree in some courses that you cannot be employable, we say go and acquire technical and vocational education. We are empowering such institutions in order for them to come and become welders, fitter machinists, fabricators, electricians, motor mechanics, carpenters. That we are doing, tailors. We are doing that so that they can understand that they must be independent. They cannot continue to be used just to go on motorcycles. And so when it is time for election, and after election, they are abandoned. They now become another easy target for bandits.
Wow.
So that's the way we are looking at it.
Excellency, I think that's a very, very good point to leave it at this point. I must thank you very much for finding time to oblige us.
Thank you very much.
Well, this has been Violence Free World. We'll be speaking with the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, His Excellency Abdulahi Sule. Same time next week, promises more if you endeavor to be here. Until then, please remember to remain on the road to a violence-free Nigeria. Thank you for watching. My name is Kali Ikpe. No.